Let's shift focus now to Nigeria, where the parliament has finally passed a record $29.8 billion budget for 2018. Now, the budget is aimed at boosting growth 9 months before presidential elections in the country. The spending plan passed by the Senate is higher than the $26 billion budget presented by President Muhammadu Buhari in November. Now, it assumes crude oil production of 2.3 million barrels per day and an exchange rate of 305 naira to the dollar. Growth remains fragile after Africa's top crude oil producer emerged from its first recession in 25 years. The recession was largely caused by low crude prices and militant attacks on energy facilities. Well, let's break down that budget with our correspondent, Phil Ihaza. He joins us in Abuja now. Phil, welcome to the show. Now, of course, this budget is being passed 6 months late. It also is 500 billion naira more than what Buhari had presented back in November. So why exactly the increase to this 9.1 trillion figure?
Thank you so much. Well, yes, we can say for sure that the 2018 budget is captured as the longest delayed in Nigeria's history due to controversies or back and forth by both the legislative and executive arm of the government. However, according to the chairman, Senate Appropriation Committee, that's Danjuma Goje, the increase of 6% was done after close consultation with the executive arm of the government. He also said that out of the 500 billion naira increment, 400 billion naira is earmarked for capital expenditure to improve sensitive sectors like security, health, power, works and housing, and also education. The remaining 100 billion earmarked for recurrent expenditure as part of it is also to finance the budget deficit as an effort to discourage the government from borrowing so much to finance the 2 trillion naira deficit in the 2018 budget.
Now, Phil, with Nigeria's already poor record of implementing its budgets in the past, will the fact that this budget was passed 6 months late suddenly impact whether we'll see this one fully implemented?
Well, thank you. The Senate actually did explain that the 2017 budget will elapse in June 12, 2018 because the appropriation is meant to last for 12 calendar months, whether it starts in January or not. Now, this means that the 2018 budget will extend into mid-2019. According to financial analysts, Nigeria's budget implementation rate has declined from 94% in 2015 to 79% in 2016 and further down as well in 2017. So it's already affecting the 2017 budget, which might even suffer, a worse fate, as the case may be.
Now, as mentioned before, this budget does assume an oil price of $51 per barrel. That's up from about $45 a barrel in Buhari's earlier version, of course, of this budget. Now, many seem to be against that because despite the U.S. pulling out of the Iran deal, there still remains quite a lot of uncertainty over the volatility of oil prices going forward. What are your thoughts on that, Phil?
Well, it is possible that, some buyers of Iran's oil, like the Japanese and some European refineries, will wind down business with Iran because of their close ties with the United States. But this may not totally affect the price of the commodity because Iran's biggest oil buyers, China and India, may continue to buy. Now, this may be the reason why Nigeria's Senate made the increment of $6, especially as the country has about $1.8 billion in its excess crude account.
Now, Phil, we're suddenly coming up on an election year next February. Buhari suddenly plans to seek a second term. How do you expect that to impact the implementation of this budget?
Well, I think that the government will prioritize the welfare and security of its citizens. Many Nigerians who represent the electorate may be hoping for a better response from the government in tackling challenges on the economy. According to political analysts, the budget may stand a greater chance of being implemented beyond previous ones under this administration if monitored closely, as executives and legislators will be looking to complete several projects lying abandoned to woo the electorates in the last lap of the 4-year tenure.
Well, many thanks, Phil, for those insights. Of course,